From Wilt Chamberlain, who famously boasted of bedding 20,000 women, to Ben McLemore, who unexpectedly found himself in a controversial incident. She didn't exhibit any signs of distress or unease and offered no clues at all. Then there's Dennis Rodman, who inadvertently aired his private exploits. These are 18 of the most infamous sex-crazed figures in NBA lore, beginning with a legend who made his womanizing a headline-grabbing narrative. Wilt Chamberlain's claim that he had been with 20,000 women stands as perhaps the most audacious and unverifiable assertion in NBA lore. This statement, featured in his 1991 memoir, A View from Above, sparked a cultural uproar that still mystifies and intrigues basketball enthusiasts years later. Chamberlain alleged that by 55, he had engaged with over 20,000 women, implying he would have needed to maintain an average of 1.2 partners daily since his teenage years. The mathematical absurdity of this assertion was clear to anyone willing to examine the logistics at play, yet it emerged as one of the most talked about and unforgettable elements of Chamberlain's legacy. This statement arose within the framework of Chamberlain's larger-than-life character, which had already cemented his place as one of basketball's most formidable and charismatic icons. Famous for his astonishing physical prowess, scoring achievements, and larger-than-life persona, Chamberlain consistently attracted both attention and controversy. The public's response to his claim was swift and passionate. Many fans interpreted it as a further demonstration of his legendary status, perceiving it merely as another realm where Wilt had reigned supreme. Some viewed it as a vulgar and unsuitable claim that undermined his true basketball successes, turning him into a mere stereotype of masculinity. Next on the list is an NBA star who unintentionally revealed his risque escapades to the world, Dennis Rodman. Who better than Dennis to stumble into one of the strangest and most unintentional comedy scandals in NBA lore? The event, which unfolded in 2010, vividly illustrated Rodman's erratic and eccentric nature, featuring a tech blunder that unveiled his intimate actions to the masses in the most humiliating fashion possible. The event took place at a hotel gathering in New York, where Rodman inadvertently leaked explicit remarks by failing to turn off his microphone during a rendezvous with several women. This technical blunder allowed anyone nearby to overhear private aspects of Rodman's escapades, resulting in a highly uncomfortable and embarrassing scenario for everyone present. The event was particularly emblematic of Rodman's persona, blending scandal with absurdity. Over the years, he had developed a reputation for his outrageous antics, unorthodox lifestyle, and knack for stirring up controversy. This broadcast blunder seemed to encapsulate all these traits in one profoundly awkward instance. The legal ramifications of the incident were slight, given that the airing was obviously unintentional and involved willing adults. Nonetheless, the embarrassment was considerable, as the event garnered extensive media attention and sparked a barrage of jokes and discussions. Moving forward, we focus on former lottery selection, Ben McLemore. The event that would eventually unravel McLemore's career and liberty took place in 2021, when the ex-Sacramento Kings and Houston Rockets guard faced accusations of assaulting a 21-year-old woman in Oregon. The distressing aspect of this case lies not only in the gravity of the charges, but also in the thorough manner in which the legal process unfolded over the span of 3 years. The individual, whose identity has been kept confidential during the entire process, bravely stepped forward to alert authorities about the incident. The case gradually progressed through Oregon's judiciary, with McLemore consistently asserting his innocence at the outset of the inquiry. She exhibited no signs of distress or discomfort and provided me with no indications whatsoever. Nevertheless, as evidence accumulated and the prosecution strengthened their case, the former NBA athlete was confronted with charges that would irrevocably change the direction of his life. After an extensive legal struggle in 2024, McLemore was found guilty of first-degree and other sexual offenses, representing one of the gravest criminal sentences ever imposed on a professional basketball player. The verdict resulted in a prison term exceeding 8 years, effectively quashing any chance of McLemore returning to professional basketball. However, the ramifications didn't end there. McLemore was mandated to register as a sex offender, a label he must carry for life. This stipulation guarantees that his offenses will remain on public record, accessible to anyone interested in investigating registered sex offenders in their area. Meanwhile, attention shifts to rising NBA star Zion Williamson. The promising talent of the New Orleans Pelicans, once celebrated as the next transformative figure in basketball, found himself caught up in a civil lawsuit that reveals alarmingly troubling behavioral patterns. The lawsuit, filed in Los Angeles in 2024, involves allegations originating from 2020, a time when Williamson was in the early stages of his NBA career. An anonymous female plaintiff accuses Williamson of sexual battery and domestic violence throughout what she describes as a harmful relationship from 2018 to 2023. The gravity of these allegations is heightened by her assertion that Williamson exhibited a recurring pattern of abusive behavior during their time together. This indicates a consistent approach to abuse, allegedly persisting even as Williamson's success in the NBA accelerated. The timing of the lawsuit is particularly notable, coinciding with Williamson's recent signing of a substantial $197 million contract extension with the Pelicans. This unexpected financial boon complicates matters further, highlighting the significant professional implications for the emerging talent. As of July 2025, the legal proceedings are still in progress, with no charges filed thus far. Next, we turn to a former coach from Lake Asta, who has faced serious allegations. The accusations against Byron Scott surfaced under California's Child Victims Act, legislation aimed at granting adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse a chance to pursue justice, even many years after the events in question. This legal framework has created an opportunity for numerous victims to step forward with accusations that might have otherwise been restricted by time limitations. The lawsuit states that Scott allegedly sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl during a high school event in 1987. The plaintiff asserts that Scott, who was a prominent player during the Lakers' iconic Showtime era, exploited his fame and influence to target and harm a minor. The gravity of these accusations is heightened by the significant power imbalance at play. In 1987, Scott was enjoying peak notoriety as a vital player on one of the NBA's most celebrated and successful teams. In stark contrast, the purported victim was a young teenage girl, put in an extremely precarious situation by the focus of a professional athlete. As of 2025, the lawsuit remains pending, with minimal information shared with the public regarding the detailed accusations or the evidence introduced. This unresolved status has cast a shadow of doubt over Scott's legacy, especially considering his notable contributions to NBA history as a player and coach. Following this is the story of an NBA player whose controversy concluded with a criminal verdict. This event took place in 2000 when Patterson made an attempt to assault his child's nanny within his residence. The individual employed by Patterson to look after his children reported the attack to law enforcement, instigating a criminal inquiry that would eventually lead to Patterson's unraveling. The judicial process progressed swiftly, and in 2001, Patterson entered a guilty plea to attempted rape. This agreement likely alleviated both Patterson and the victim from the harshness of an extended trial, yet it also ensured that Patterson would encounter significant legal repercussions for his conduct. The sentence he received encompassed not only criminal penalties, but also mandated him to register as a sex offender. This obligation would haunt Patterson for the remainder of his life, making his offenses part of public knowledge and impacting his ability to reside and find employment in various communities. Despite his legal troubles, Patterson managed to maintain his NBA career, although he endured constant criticism from fans and the press. His reputation as the Kobe stopper, gained for his exceptional defense against the Lakers star, was soon eclipsed by his conviction. Meanwhile, another incident involving former NBA MVP Derrick Rose came to light, one that allegedly took place in 2013, but wasn't revealed until 2016 when a civil lawsuit was initiated demanding significant compensation. The suit claimed that Rose and two acquaintances had drugged and sexually assaulted a woman in what she characterized as a premeditated attack. She asserted that she had been rendered incapacitated and couldn't provide consent, categorizing the event as sexual assault. The woman sought $21.5 million in damages, a notable figure that underscored the gravity of the claims and their profound effects on her life. Rose's legal team employed a confrontational approach, contending that the sexual interaction was consensual and framing the plaintiff as someone driven more by a desire for monetary compensation than by a quest for justice. They referenced text messages and other materials, claiming these corroborated their narrative, implying that the woman had willingly engaged in the sexual activity. The trial commenced in 2016, with both parties laying out their evidence before a federal jury. The proceedings included explicit testimony concerning the supposed assault and preceding incidents. In the end, the jury ruled in favor of Rose, accepting the argument from his legal team that the encounter was consensual. The outcome stirred debate, with numerous experts doubting if the jury's ruling was swayed by Rose's fame and the aggressive strategies of his legal team, as the case transcended personal interests. The Dallas Mavericks faced a major upheaval in 2018, when Sports Illustrated released a shocking investigation that laid bare a deeply entrenched toxic culture within the team's front office. This expose disclosed a history of sexual harassment, discrimination, and a hostile workplace that predominantly affected women. Central to these claims was Tardima Uzuri, the former president of the team, who was accused of a sustained pattern of harassment involving inappropriate remarks, unwelcome advances, and fostering an unwelcoming environment. The accusations against Uzuri were especially damaging due to his authoritative position and the extensive duration of the alleged misconduct. The investigation also disclosed that Mark Cuban, the team owner, had knowledge of the concerns regarding the workplace culture but did not take sufficient steps to rectify the issues. Although Cuban was not directly implicated in harassment, his lack of response to the harmful environment was perceived as a major lapse in leadership that allowed the misconduct to persist. The The repercussions of the scandal were extensive. Uzari cherished the team, leading the NBA to require thorough workplace reforms for the Mavericks. Under mounting scrutiny for his lack of oversight, Cuban contributed $10 million to women's organizations as an effort to atone for the organization's missteps. Turning to high-profile organizational controversies, we now examine Madison Square Garden. The case of Isaiah Thomas and MSG is noteworthy. A lawsuit initiated by Nooka Brown Sanders against Isaiah Thomas and Madison Square Garden marks one of the most pivotal workplace harassment incidents in NBA history. Filed in 2006, this lawsuit unveiled a troubling culture of discrimination and harassment within one of the league's distinguished franchises. Brown Sanders, who held a senior vice president position with the New York Knicks, accused Thomas and MSG of sexual harassment, detailing unwanted advances in an environment rife with hostility. Her lawsuit illustrated a workplace where sexist conduct was not merely tolerated, but was actively promoted by those in power. The accusations directed at Thomas carried significant weight due to his dual role as a Hall of Fame athlete and the Knicks president of basketball operations. Brown Sanders alleged that Thomas fostered a fraternity-like culture within the organization, referring to her in derogatory ways during their professional exchanges. In 2007, the dispute was presented in court, with both parties showcasing their proofs in a widely followed trial. Eventually, the jury ruled in favor of Brown Sanders, leading MSG to settle the lawsuit for $11.5 million. This settlement marked one of the largest sums awarded in workplace harassment disputes tied to a professional sports entity, underscoring the gravity of the claims and their ramifications on Brown Sanders' career and personal life, as she subsequently tackled a case involving several prominent athletes. The Gold Club incident, a dramatic saga that played out over several years, revolved around an Atlanta strip club notorious for its connection to illegal dealings with NBA players. Federal scrutiny fell upon the Gold Club for racketeering activities, and during the inquiry, testimony surfaced indicating that numerous NBA stars often exchanged hefty sums for sexual favors from dancers. This venue turned into a lavish playground for affluent athletes willing to pay top dollar for forbidden pleasures. Notable NBA figures entangled in the controversy included Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, John Starks, Reggie Miller, and Dennis Rodman. The involvement of such prominent players rendered the scandal particularly shocking, hinting that this misbehavior reflected a wider culture of impropriety rather than being an isolated incident. The most harmful evidence was provided by Ewing, who revealed in court that he had engaged the services of dancers from the Gold Club. This revelation was especially surprising, as Ewing had been perceived as one of the league's most upstanding and polished athletes. Although no players were criminally charged, the scandal inflicted serious damage to their reputations. The situation unveiled a troubling culture of indulgence and privilege among professional athletes that unsettled many fans. Additionally, it raised alarms about the possibility of organized crime penetrating the realm of professional sports via establishments like the Gold Club. Coming up is a key figure of the Lakers' Showtime era, James Worthy. The event took place in Houston back in 1990, when Worthy found himself in trouble for soliciting sex. A meeting set up with two women who turned out to be undercover cops. This arrest was part of a broader police initiative aiming at curbing prostitution in the region. Worthy unwittingly stumbled into a sting operation that revealed his engagement in illicit activities. In '90, he was detained for soliciting prostitution, arranged via an escort service, all before a game. The apprehension struck a severe blow, largely due to Worthy's esteemed standing as a committed and proficient athlete. During his tenure with the Lakers, he had built a reputation on his relentless effort, remarkable clutch performances, and a strong desire for superiority, both in competition and in life. The exposure of his engagement in illicit sexual acts dismantled this meticulously crafted persona, while the legal repercussions for Worthy were fairly minimal, resulting in a fine and no substantial legal ramifications. The harm to his reputation was profound. The event led to his absence from a Lakers game and exposed him to severe media backlash and public humiliation. The response to Worthy's arrest was one of disbelief and letdown. Fans who once looked up to him as an athlete and respected him as an individual struggled to reconcile their perception of him with the truth of his illegal actions. Following this is a case involving the then-rookie of the Utah Jazz, Deshaun Stevenson. The situation unfolded when Stevenson, at just 20, confessed to engaging in consensual relations with a 14-year-old girl. The incident escalated into a legal issue due to the girl's age, rendering her unable to give legal consent for sexual relations with an adult. The matter grew more alarming with Stevenson supplying her with alcohol prior to their encounter. The legal consequences for Stevenson were grave. Even with his assertion of mutual consent, the girl's age placed Stevenson in violation of statutory rape laws. Furthermore, his act of giving her alcohol led to further charges concerning the endangerment of a minor's welfare. Stevenson eventually accepted a lesser charge, enabling him to evade significant prison time, although he still faced probation and the enduring repercussions of his deeds. The plea agreement likely aimed to alleviate the emotional toll on both Stevenson and the victim from a protracted trial, but it also meant Stevenson would bear the mark of his conviction for the rest of his professional life. Despite this conviction, he managed to pursue his NBA career, albeit under the perpetual gaze of fans and media scrutiny. His reputation never fully healed from the ordeal, and he was frequently reminded of his past throughout. His time in the league, eventually crossing paths with NBA player Butch Carter, who himself had endured abuse. In 2025, Carter became part of a legal case claiming sexual abuse by a team doctor at Indiana University during his collegiate years in the 1970s. This lawsuit was indicative of a wider wave of allegations against sports physicians that had surfaced in recent years, particularly after prominent cases in various sports revealed extensive misconduct by medical staff. The claims against the Indiana University doctor were especially alarming due to the involvement of young athletes, who were in vulnerable situations and relied heavily on these medical professionals for support. This case underscored the power imbalances between team doctors and student athletes, revealing the potential for that authority to be misused. Carter's choice to engage in the lawsuit was noteworthy due to his unique perspective as both a former player and coach, having personally experienced the alleged failings of the system. His subsequent position as a coach tasked with safeguarding young athletes provided him with a distinct viewpoint on the critical need to confront past abuses. As of 2025, the lawsuit is still active, yet scant information has emerged regarding the particular claims or evidence under review. The age of the allegations, along with the hurdles of substantiating events from decades prior, renders this a convoluted legal issue that may take years to settle. Coming up next is an exceptionally bizarre sexual scandal surrounding a prominent figure in the NBA, Marv Albert. The saga unfolded in 1997 when Albert faced accusations of biting a woman amidst a sexual encounter, a strange claim that quickly drew headlines. The narrative intensified as further details surfaced, revealing that Albert allegedly donned women's attire during this incident. The charges stunned many, particularly due to Albert's esteemed reputation as a leading and respected sports broadcaster. Renowned for his unique vocal delivery, extensive basketball knowledge, and knack for portraying the thrilling essence of the game, this shocking disclosure about his involvement in such outlandish and possibly unlawful conduct significantly tarnished his once pristine professional persona. The court proceedings drew intense attention from basketball enthusiasts and media analysts alike. The case included shocking testimonies regarding Albert's purported conduct, touching on the biting occurrence and claims of cross-dressing. The sensational nature of the evidence captured headlines and tabloids for an extended period. In the end, Albert entered a guilty plea for misdemeanor assault, resulting in a suspended sentence. This agreement spared him from incarceration, but led to considerable repercussions in his career. NBC first terminated Albert from his broadcasting job, but he was subsequently reinstated after fulfilling his sentence and completing community service. Despite the controversy, Albert managed to revive his broadcasting career, yet the event left an indelible mark on his legacy. The following case highlights one of the most catastrophic acts of teammate treachery in NBA history: Nick Young. The uproar started when D'Angelo Russell covertly recorded Young confessing to infidelity with his fiancée, rapper Iggy Azalea. The audio, captured secretly and without Young's approval, showcased him speaking about his unfaithfulness during what he thought was an intimate chat with a fellow player. The material was extremely private and humiliating, detailing Young's affairs outside his marriage. The incident escalated dramatically when the footage surfaced publicly, triggering a media frenzy that impacted both athletes and the whole Lakers franchise. The release exposed Young's disloyalty, while also highlighting Russell's breach of trust in their supposed confidential dialogue. The repercussions of the leaked video were swift and intense. Azalea boldly addressed Young's cheating, resulting in their engagement's dissolution and a sensational breakup that captured media attention. This situation fostered a detrimental ambience in the Lakers' locker room, with players aligning themselves and the team's dynamics deteriorating. Russell endured severe backlash from fans, media, and peers due to his involvement in recording and disseminating the private discussion. His conduct was seen as a grave breach of the trust fundamental to teammate relationships, irrespective of Young's personal choices. Consequently, this incident tarnished Russell's reputation, marking him as untrustworthy throughout his career. The following case centers around the late basketball legend, Kobe Bryant, famously known as the Black Mamba. The incident unfolded in July 2003 when 19-year-old hotel staff member Caitlin Faber claimed that Bryant had sexually assaulted her at a hotel in Colorado. The complexity of the situation escalated as Bryant promptly acknowledged that they had engaged in a sexual encounter, but staunchly asserted that it was entirely consensual. This acknowledgement sparked a contentious legal showdown that unfolded across both criminal and civil jurisdictions, drawing the attention of the entire country. The evidence unveiled during the proceedings presented a disconcerting narrative. Faber's physical injuries were recorded, supporting her claims of assault. Yet, the crux of the case revolved around the elusive issue of consent. which remained indeterminate due to the contradictory testimonies from both the accuser and the accused. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the relentless media attention impacted everyone concerned. The ordeal was a profound challenge to their identities, affecting them not just individually, but also as a family. Moreover, for the women's organization and her teammates, navigating the situation was incredibly challenging. Faber found herself under an extraordinary spotlight. As tabloids and television scrutinized her private affairs, the strain grew unbearable. In 2004, she made the hard choice to refuse to testify in the criminal trial, which essentially concluded the case against Bryant. Yet, the legal confrontation was only beginning. A civil lawsuit followed, and by 2005, Bryant and Faber came to a settlement rumored to be worth millions. Up next is an NBA player often regarded as the greatest in history, Michael Jordan. The affair with a woman named Carla Knafel marked one of the rare instances when Jordan's private life faced significant legal examination and public discourse. Knafel asserted that Jordan had given her $5 million to silence their relationship. She claimed that not only did he have an extramarital involvement with her, but he also arranged the payment to maintain discretion. Additionally, she alleged that Jordan confessed to her that his marriage was mainly for appearances. The accusations were particularly injurious, as they implied that Jordan's image as a loving family man was merely a well-crafted illusion. Knafel chose to make these claims because she asserted that Jordan had violated their arrangement by not providing the extra payments she thought were due. Her legal action aimed to uphold what she referred to as a confidentiality agreement, contending that Jordan's noncompliance freed her from the duty to keep their affair discreet. Nevertheless, the court eventually dismissed the case, as there was insufficient proof to establish either the affair's existence or the financial aspects. This absence of solid evidence left the allegations unverified, prompting public speculation about the veracity of Knafel's assertions, leading into an unusual event involving 3 NBA players. In 2007, Sam Cassell, Gary Payton, and Jason Caffey found themselves embroiled in controversy when they were arrested for allegedly assaulting a stripper duo, 1 male and 1 female, outside a nightclub. Details of the incident remained murky, yet indications pointed to a possible quarrel over sexual services or their payment. The joint involvement of the 3 players in the event was significant, hinting either at a planned incident or one that spiraled out of control. The dual gender of the alleged victims added another layer of intrigue and led to further scrutiny regarding the true nature of the events. Ultimately, the legal process concluded swiftly, with all 3 athletes being found not guilty of the accusations. Due to the absence of definitive proof or credible witness accounts, the prosecution failed to establish their case to a level of reasonable doubt. Nevertheless, the players could not escape the humiliation and adverse media coverage they had already endured. Public sentiment towards the incident leaned toward bemusement and bewilderment instead of genuine alarm. The fallout from the case had little enduring impact on the athletes involved, primarily due to their exoneration and the relatively trivial nature of the allegations. Still, it illustrated the possible risks faced by professional athletes in compromising predicaments, especially within the nightlife scene. If you like this video, tap on the videos displayed on your screen to discover more.